if you give somebody what they want and it doesn't solve their problems, who are they going to blame?
Welcome to Behind the Signs. Today we are chatting with Russell Toynes of Studio Zoe in Austin, Texas. Russell, welcome, and thank you so much for spending some time with us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. This is exciting.
Yeah, well, I'm excited about chatting with you, and I'd like to kind of learn a little bit about your business, your role in the business, and how you get started. So tell us a little bit about Studio Zoe and what you do in the course of a day.
Yeah, so Russell Toynes. I'm from Austin, Texas. I am the co-owner and creative director at a small multidisciplinary design studio based in Austin, Texas. And we are a small team. We're fully remote. Pandemic helped us do that. But what we do is we bring brands to life in spaces and places. So we also do branding. We do packaging, we do brand development, logo design, all the things that are necessary to give a visual identity to a business. But then on top of that is we take it further and we bring that to the physical space through signage and wayfinding and what we call architectural upgraded signage, and really try to find opportunities to make, as I tell people, like we're the original UX designers, right? We're thinking about the actual physical experience in a space. And so we do a lot of really cool stuff. A small team of us, it's 7, and we do a lot of work all over Austin, all over Texas, all over the United States, and even beyond.
Interesting, because, so many sign shops think of themselves as just making a physical thing and that's it. So when you're working with your clients and you're having that initial meeting with them, I guess, like how do you go through the process of, getting involved in the branding side of it, and then how does that move into the signage?
Yeah, I think, our work, as I say, and a lot of people could probably quote, like, good work leads to more good work. Same thing with crap work. So, because we do good work, and we really promote that, people seek us out for that. So they'll see a brand that we've done and then how we've rolled it out, and they'll follow us on social media. They'll reach out to us. We're constantly getting, inquiries about, hey, can you, I have this company, I'm starting this business, I'm starting this restaurant. Can you do the branding? But also, we have to tell people, right? If people don't know you do this, if you're a sign shop and all you do is show the finished product, then people don't know how you got there. So a lot of what we do is promote our process.
So let's say a typical, I'm a person, I'm opening a business, right? I have no brand. I'm opening a business for the first time. I hear about Studio Zoe. I come to you. How does the process work? Like, how do you get me started in thinking about my brand, how I want to communicate that, and how that, I need signs, I need cards, I need logos. And how do you work with somebody that's just starting from scratch? Because I think that's really interesting for sign companies to think about.
Yeah, I think, my background is in design. And for 15 years, I've been a designer. 5 of that, a little bit more than 5 of that was spent on the global brand team at Dell. So my job was to elevate and communicate the brand. So a lot of people would think, oh, if you're a designer at Dell, you're making the packaging or you're doing ads. That was not my job. That was not my team. We talked about Dell and provided solutions for Dell at a brand level, a much higher level. So it was, how do we change, the perception of the brand? How do we connect with people on a more personal level? So when someone comes to Studio Zoe and says, hey, I'm opening up, let's just say a restaurant, and I need help with naming, I need help with branding, and then I need that brand to come to the space. First thing we're going to do is just sit down with them and ask them, like, what is the vision, right? Do they even have a vision? And I'll be honest with you, a lot of people start a business for the money. That is it. Right. They're not thinking about the experience. They're not as committed to the experience as maybe we are, or maybe other people who are restaurateurs. Some people just have money and they want to pour it into a business that they think is going to make money. And so they just need basically something. And I hear this all the time. I just need something, right? They just think that if we just make a logo, that's all they need. And the reality is there's, especially in Austin, there's restaurants everywhere. You can throw a rock in any direction and hit 5 restaurants. So what's going to make you different? What's going to make people take pictures and give you the content and the advertising that you don't have to pay for? And so we try to think about
the Instagram moment.
Yeah, the Instagrammable moment. We try to force them to think about that. So what we'll do is we'll ask them a ton of questions, right? And this is before we even decide if we're going to take on the work. And the reason why is that if we don't feel like they have a clear vision, it can be a bit of a challenge. Or if they have too clear of a vision, right? If they're not willing to be, flexible and open, it can become a challenge for us when they're just basically do this, make this. Like, that's not us. We solve problems. We're not the hammer. We're the architect, right? We're gonna figure out everything that needs to be done, and maybe we'll wield the hammer, maybe we'll wield the saw, maybe we'll just tell people what to do. But we can't have somebody coming in and saying, I just need this, and this. So when we talk with them, we start getting a better idea of what the vision is. That's what we really want to get. Once we get the vision, and we go into research and discovery, and that's where we really put in the work to figure out what is going to make their place special. So we're working on one right now in Telluride, Colorado. And we're just in talks right now, and then we're going up there next week, actually, to actually in a week and a half. We're sending somebody up there to just do research and meet the people and Telluride to better understand. And then that's all just to help us generate a name, and then that will generate the concept and the brand visually, and then all the other things that come after that. So it's a long process, but it's really conversations. Lots and lots of conversations is how the whole thing happens. It's not behind the screen. It's not anything like that.
I think it's really, really cool that a sign shop would think the depth of how you're thinking about someone's brand, identity, logo, signage, all of it. I imagine just getting customers to think that way is a process in educating them. So how do you, because if I was opening up a small little restaurant, I'm not necessarily thinking, I'm not a marketer or someone that creates brands. Like, how do you start changing their mindset about that, so that from the initial conversation about their logo and their tagline and their business cards and their colors, all the way up to the giant sign on the street, and how cohesive that needs to be to give those people those types of experiences. Like, how do you start educating your clients about that?
It's funny. This is I'll give you and your audience like this. This is the secret formula, right? And
hey, all right, here we go.
Write it down, y'all. Trust. That is it. You have to build trust with people, and the best way to build trust with people is to have open, transparent conversation. If they think that you work for them, then they don't necessarily trust or value you. You have to have trust. They have to trust you to be able to push back on maybe what they think they want if you know it's not going to be effective. And you have to trust them to be the subject matter expert of their business. And so being able to have conversations, if somebody is just, no, I don't think that's necessary, we just need you to do this, they're not trusting you. They're not valuing you. They're not respecting you. And that's when you're going to find yourself creating something that's just to get to the paycheck, and it's not going to solve their problem. So much like a sign, right? If someone comes to you and says, I need a 8-foot by 10-foot sign that says my name, and I need it up here, and I want a cabinet, right? And you go, okay, well, a lot of sign shops would do that. But did you check the sign code? Did you check the city code? Did you check the landlord criteria? Did you do all that? And did you look at the brand? Did you look at the surrounding areas? Did you look at who their audience is? Did you even ask any questions, or did you just go, okay? Because if you give somebody what they want and it doesn't solve their problems, who are they going to blame? They're not going to blame themselves. They're going to blame you. And they're going to go tell all their friends, man, this company did X, Y, Z, and it cost me so much money and it didn't work, or didn't get approved by the city and it cost me so much money. But all you did was give them exactly what they wanted. So I like to tell people, like I use the analogy, we'll say a shoe sandwich. You can sub out shoe for any other SH word you want. If you owned a restaurant and someone walked in and said, hey, I want a shoe sandwich, right? Basically a shoe between two pieces of bread, you could give it to them, right? And they're going to eat that shoe sandwich and they're going to be disgusted and they're going to tell all their friends. But if they come in and say, I want a shoe sandwich, you say, hold on real quick. What's the problem? Are you hungry? Because we serve a lot of other things than shoe sandwiches.
Yeah.
That's what you have to do. And once you put somebody in the position where they know that you have their business and interests in mind, then you have trust. And then that's how you get into that. Let's look at your logo. Let's look at your environment. Let's look at your brand. Let's look at your approach to what you're trying to do versus let's just give you what you say you want so we could get to the next project. Because I think a lot of sign shops are focused on volume and it's like, how much can we crank out? And if you could crank out less work that had higher margins and it was better work, and then you got to put that better work in your portfolio on your site, good work leads to more good work.
Yeah. Well, and even speaking of your website too, just going through and looking at your portfolio and seeing how first of all, everything is so creative. I don't think I saw a block set of channel letters on there or just a square cabinet on there. I'm sure there's a few, but you always tell a story too, the problems that you're solving and what you were trying to help the client achieve. And I love that. That's really good.
That's what people remember. I mean, when whether it be on an Instagram post or on our actual website, or even in our presentations, we try to put people in a narrative, right? We try to put them in a scene so that way when they see the final product, it doesn't matter because they already have the vision in their head because we painted that picture for them. So we get buy-in on an idea early. And so our big thing is let's get a bunch of ideas together. Let's figure out which one works. And then we'll pour all of our effort into that one design direction instead of, do you like A, B, C, D, E, F, G? It's like, no, I just come with 2-3 ideas and know that they're solid ideas and then spend your time refining the one idea. Because ultimately 2 are going to sit on the ground, right? They're going to be on the floor. The good thing for us is that there's as much as there's infinite ideas, there's no bad ideas either. So what maybe doesn't work for you and you say, I'm going to pass on that idea, might work for somebody else. So we're constantly looking for opportunities to breathe new life into an idea that maybe just wasn't selected from another project.
And you're if you're thinking this way, then obviously you're right. You're building up a huge arsenal of problem solving techniques and which ones apply to which jobs. So, but speaking of your Instagram account, I was on there and you're a speaker at a branding conference here in Austin, and I'd love to hear first of all what you talked about there and how that would apply to the sign industry. Or I say a new shop that was just starting up. What are some of the things that you spoke about that could really apply to someone getting started in the sign industry?
I was a speaker at the Brand New Conference, which is a conference focused on branding and all things related to design and branding. One thing that I can do better than anybody else is tell my story. And my story is very unconventional. And so I wanted to be able to share that. And so my talk was really about imposter syndrome, anxiety, and creating boundaries. So that way I can work within some guardrails and be as productive as possible. Now, how that relates to the sign industry, it really kind of depends on where you're at. I think the biggest problem in the sign industry is how sign shops see themselves.
Yeah.
They see themselves as a commodity because unfortunately construction has treated signage like a commodity. Like we're going to tell you the budget and we're going to tell you when we need it and we're going to tell you what we want, but that's it. Right. And then you got to somehow be able to make their 600 unit apartment complex with their, work within their budget and within their timeline. And no one is stopping and saying why. No one is stopping and saying, hey, who's here to talk about how this experience is brought to life in this space? A lot of, GCs are just like, just stick a, plastic sign from Office Depot, up there that says room 101. Like, that's it.
Come
Why?
on, don't you have this on the shelf?
Yeah, exactly.
Right,
And then they wonder why it doesn't look good, or why people aren't taking pictures of their room signs, or of the hallway or the entryway, or they're not getting any sort of earned media, because people just, this is an apartment complex. But even the smallest interaction can make an impact. And so how my talk in general relates to the sign industry is really how you see yourself. If you are a business owner, right, and you have a shop and you actually fabricate and install, what makes you different, right? Do you have the same channel bender machine as everyone else? Do you have the same paint booth as everyone else? Okay, great. Yeah, those are all table stakes, right? But what makes you different? Do you have a design team that really pays attention to what's going on? Do you have an approach? Do you only take certain type of clients? Like, what differentiates you? And then being able to feel confident in your position, right? Being able to say no to the things that don't align with your vision. And I think that's where a lot of people in the sign industry have problems, or face problems, is they're trying to be, and I'm going to quote a good friend of mine, Scotty Russell, they're trying to be pizza. They're trying to make everybody happy, right? But we can't be pizza. There's some people who are going to be disappointed, or there's some people who aren't going to like us. And there's going to be a lot of people that we don't want to work with. And if we say yes to everything, then you're going to find that you have a portfolio not worth sharing, because it's just a bunch of nail, places. And, I'm trying to think of like the worst clients, not the nail places. You look on our site, you'll see we did a nail studio.
I saw that on your site.
And that nail studio got us a ton of work. But at the same time, every eyelash beauty place, beauty parlor in the surrounding 100 miles or more has called us and asked us to do branding or environmental design around their space, or a lot of things. And there's certain things we'll say yes to, and there's certain things we won't. Just depends on the work. So knowing who you are and who you want to work with, and what you say no to really defines you. And so having the confidence to do that, and not feeling like I got to say yes to everything because you just don't know when the next project's going to come in. Really believing in the good work leads to more good work is probably the best lesson that I could give to anybody. And also saying no to the things that don't align with your goal. And it's not about money, right? As much as business is about money, and I hate to say this, and this is where I get a little bit different than the sign industry, right? Is the sign industry is treated like a commodity, so they treat themselves like commodities. Yeah. And they just want to say yes to anything and everything. Sure, you're this, you're that, you're a car wash. Sure, I'll do it, right? And they'll spend their time talking about or working with that client for a year, and then the results are nothing that they're excited about, and it's just on to the next one. In fact, they're exhausted, and then the client's exhausted, and then you walk away feeling like that wasn't worth it. When you could sit down with somebody, have an honest conversation with them, find out that they're the right partner to work with, do great work for that same year, and have so much equity from the work that you got that it just generates more and more revenue. And not only that, is your margins are higher because you're able to spend more time with them, which you're able to bill if you bill for your time, which is a whole other conversation. Yep. And you're able to deliver something that they love. And I mean, it goes back to the trust. Our partners, we don't call our clients, we call them partners, because we are working together. I do not work for anybody. I work with people. And so being able to, have these conversations with them builds trust. And when they trust you, when they're done with that project, they want nothing more but the opportunity to work with you again. Yeah. And so they come back around with another project, or they want to have you on retainer. So that way they can just, anytime that they want to talk with you, anytime they want to throw an idea at you, they are there. And I would say 75% of the work that we do is repeat clients. And it doesn't matter if it's one building that they have, they still come back to us to do marketing, to do, one-off things, to do merchandise. And so, being able to be that trusted partner for them, that they're just like, I'm the guy that they have a guy for, right? So when they're like, I have a guy, we're that guy.
That's good. And I think that is a big thing in the sign industry too. So many folks that I talk to, all the time, sign shop owners especially, they see themselves, I'm the sign guy, right? They don't see themselves as bringing tremendous value to a project. And it's easy to get in that rut. You whether you suffer with imposter syndrome, which I did for years, like I would kind of joke, oh, hey, I'm a sign guy. But really what I was a person that owned a very complex business. I had to manage very talented people, skilled labor, expensive equipment. You bring a lot to the table. And when you see yourself that way, it helps. It helps with elevating the kind of jobs that you get yourself involved in. You don't feel the pressure just to take anything.
I think the people want to play this role of like kind of like a politician, like I'm just the average Joe and I'm just like you and all this stuff like that.
Yeah.
But the reality is they want a professional. Right. Yeah. You wouldn't want a doctor who was coming across as an average Joe, right? I'm just like you, like, we're going to figure it out. No, like they're trusting their
work
business.
On your heart today. Don't worry.
Yeah. They're trusting their business and their brand with you.
Yeah.
They want to know that you know what the hell you're doing. And so when you walk into the room, having a good idea of who they are, what they do, doing a little bit of homework, but on top of that is being willing to have an opinion and being willing to
stand by it,
challenge them instead of just going, yes, 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 yes.
I mean, that's some great advice for, no matter where people are in the sign, in their sign business journey, right? So whether you're just a new person starting out, or you've been at it for a long time and you need to kind of rethink about how you present yourself. I mean, elevating this industry together is kind of the goal of Behind the Signs. And I think today's interview was super helpful in that. So anyway, in closing, Russ, first of all, thank you very much for your time today. We appreciate it. What's on the horizon for Studio Zoe? More of the same, or you got any big things on the horizon for next year? Big projects you're excited about, or what's going on with you guys?
We do. Year? We have, we're very, very thankful for all the work that comes our way. We do got a couple of really big projects. I'm going to, refrain from sharing too many details about those, but, it's one of them in particular is kind of a full circle story for me. So I'm super excited to be part of that and to serve the community that has served me for so many years. But yeah, we have a lot of great work ahead. Like I said, we got a project in Telluride. We got projects all over the place already. 2023 is just about booked up, which is great.
Amazing.
But we always try to make room for the fun things.
Thanks so much for today. I mean, there was a lot of insight there, and we really, really appreciate you spending time with us. And good luck with all your endeavors, and we will chat soon.
Thank you. Y'all have a good one.
Take care.
Bye.
All right. Bye. Hey everyone, if you're interested in being featured on Behind the Signs, we would love to connect with you and hear about the unique ways that you are working in the sign industry. Please reach out to us on our Facebook group, Behind the Signs, send us a direct message, and we'll get you on the schedule.